It's the time of year where public roads around the globe become a racetrack for the rich and famous. It's got an obscene lineup of million-dollar cars, driven so recklessly, you'd swear all of them were Nissan Altimas. It's the most interesting and stimulating way to see different countries around the globe and blast straight through them. And the coolest part, Johnny Knoxville did it. How did it start? And after everything that's gone down, how is it still a thing? Let's find out. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Gumball 3000.
Hello, my name's Riley, and I'm a friend of the channel, and I'm also the artist that made the Donut Media mural. It's finally done after so many sleepless nights, snacks, Red Bulls, ups and downs, highs and lows. Now it's finally here. And I'm so excited you guys get to see it and have your own version of it as a sticker.
It's not going to be available for very long, so if you want it, I suggest you go to donutmedia.com right now and get you one.
Now, you may have heard of this chaotic mess of multi-million-dollar exotic cars driven by some of the richest people on earth. They rip through tiny European streets, fat American highways, and even around the Nürburgring, cheered on by international car enthusiasts, all for the glory of an engraved name on a cup. So cool. But how did the Gumball 3000 start? What are they trying to prove? To understand, we're gonna have to go back to a time that wasn't great for cars. All right, during the oil crisis, we mention it a lot in the 70s, the federal government mandated a 55-mile-per-hour speed limit nationwide to save gas during the oil embargo. Car enthusiasts, including Car and Driver's founder Brock Yates, didn't think this was a good idea. They said, you know what? This ain't fair, okay? And as a form of protest against the lunacy of government bureaucracy, Yates founded a thing called the Cannonball Run. Now, you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't, the entire point of the Cannonball is to drive from New York to Los Angeles as fast as you possibly can.
California, here we come.
All right, the record is currently 25 hours, 39 minutes. It was set during quarantine, and I bet 3 of those hours were spent in LA traffic. Thank you, LA traffic. We're known for traffic. Thank you. Thank you. LA traffic. Thank you. Just like everything fun, the Cannonball Run was super dangerous and illegal. All right, Yates canceled the official event in 1979, but that wouldn't stop racing deviants from taking the Cannonball as a blueprint for their own races. All right, now let's jump ahead to the 90s. Skip the 80s altogether. All right, a young hot boy model named Maximilian Cooper decided to take his earnings from the catwalk and learn how to street race. I mean, that's how most of us get into it. We're hot boy models, we make a bunch of cheddar, and then we end up street racing. Tale as old as time. Now, Cooper had enough contacts and friends in both racing and fashion that he was like, wouldn't it be fun if I took the glamour and money of the fashion industry and melded it with the street racing scene? High fashion and high revving exotics. A wild after party every night. Yes, I think that would be marvelous. I don't know where he's from. In 1999, Maximilian organized a fun rally through some of Europe's most iconic cities and called it the Gumball 3000 because the route would be 3,000 miles long, and it was inspired by the Cannonball Run. It's kind of playful, all right? It's fun. It's cheeky. The first official Gumball 3000 had pretty much 2 requirements. Bring an interesting car and pay an entry fee of $8,700. Now that isn't exactly cheap, but with that fee, you get hotel accommodations, you get meals, and access to every single party the rally had to offer. And believe me when I say, these were parties that you'd want to go to, okay? Because they're fun. They had past apps, they had little puffs with shrimps in them, all right? They got Thai-inspired tacos. They had maybe a little bowl with stew, like one spoon of goulash, a little stew bowl. Don't get me started on desserts. so many shrimps were consumed. Original Gumballers included Kate Moss, Jamiroquai, Kylie Minogue, and one of my personal heroes, Johnny Knoxville. Now, adjusting for inflation, their modern equivalents are Bella Hadid, Drake, Camila Cabello, and Johnny Knoxville, because Johnny Knoxville's timeless and he'll never die. He can't. They've tried. And because I like him so much, he's gonna come back up in the story later, so stick around. And while we're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. Now, as I mentioned before, Maximilian used the rough length of the Cannonball run as a template for his rally, but European miles are completely different from American ones. They call them kilomiles over there, and they're made up by the Queen. All right, 3,000 miles in the US is easy to envision. All right, you start in New York, you drive west until you see the ocean. Easy, just like the Pilgrims did. But how do you spend 3,000 miles traveling around Europe? Because Europe is way tighter and twistier and the exact size of 2 Wisconsins. Well, every year Gumball has a different route because you don't want to bore millionaires. Because when millionaires get bored, they do crazy shit, basement shit, private island shit. In 2001, the rally started in London. Each driver brought their own car and were simply handed a mission pack. The mission pack gave info on where the driver was headed, like Berlin, for example, along with hotel information. And that's it. That's all you get. Get in your AMG GT3 and just frickin' go, dude. Now, this particular route went from Berlin to Poland to Lithuania to Russia to Finland, where they take one of Europe's largest ferries to Sweden, and then Denmark, and then finally end their drive in Ballou, England, 856 miles away. The grand total, over 3,200 miles covered in just 5 days. Along the way, the driver had to keep an eye out for speed traps and gooseneckers and other D-bag ralliers. 2001 was a major turning point for the rally since 106 cars entered, including Max Cooper in an original Shelby Cobra and Lord Montague of Bellevue in a 1929 blower Bentley, which was the oldest car in Gumball history. Can you imagine driving a car built in 1929 for 3,000 miles? No thanks! Kim.com, who is apparently a real human man with a real name, was the winner that year thanks to his Mercedes Brabus SV12 mega car, but the most legendary car of them all, a 1989 Jaguar XJ6 piloted by Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass Boys. Random hero, rest in peace. Knoxville later said that of all the stunts that he did during the run of Jackass, the closest he ever came to dying was during the Gumball 3000. And fortunately, MTV got it all on camera, and they released the Jackass Gumball 3000 Rally Special. It became MTV's highest rated show that year. I watched it endlessly. I've seen it so many times. The special included a bunch of legendary moments, a Latvian border patrol stop, which held everybody up for 6 hours, a speed trap at the border of Denmark where authorities pulled 15 cars over at once, and a Gumballer's story about flipping his Ferrari, ripping off part of his ear, and leaving the wrecked exotic upside down in a field. This is what crazy rich people do for fun. Cool, dude. You know what I do for fun? I drink orange wine in the park with my friends. After 3 years of tearing up the English countryside and pissing off typically stoic Germans, the Gumball 3000 ran their first rally in the United States in 2002. This was incidentally also the year that Mischief 3000 came out. Now, if you're not familiar, Mischief Productions put out a famous DVD series known for its street racing videos. And even though the internet was technically around in 2002, YouTube wasn't a thing yet, and you had to buy DVDs. Plus, if you're on the internet in 2002 and your mom needs to use the phone, you have to get off. Once you got the DVD, you had to put it in a DVD player, and then sometimes they were just too scratched to even play. It was stupid. Sucked. Now I watch Dune on my phone.
It's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your telephone.
Remember how I said there were really only 2 qualifications for the Gumball? I lied to you. I'm really sorry. Right to your face. There's another rule. If you choose to participate in the rally, you sign a contract agreeing that you will never, under any circumstances, release footage that wasn't explicitly approved by the organizers. Any and all Gumball 3000 footage has to be approved. Make us look cool and hot and buff and rich, okay? But you see, the Mischief crew didn't sign that contract. They didn't even officially enter. They just fooled the organizers and ran the rally like they were included. I'm sure a PA got fired for that. And that is how they got such insane footage. The DVD includes a New Jersey cop giving tips to drivers to avoid tickets, a wrecked 18-wheeler spilling Reynolds wrap all over the interstate, a Texas speed trap that was so disorganized that it turned into a 40-mile backup, with overwhelmed police eventually deciding to just let everyone go. Probably because they didn't want to hear, "Do you know who my father is?" Texas cops were also taped receiving high-speed ride-alongs from Team Roof. And there was in-car footage of a roof-tuned Porsche 996 Turbo R reaching speeds of 208 miles per hour on the street. That is a speed that contributed to their win for hottest wheels at the closing ceremony. What an honor! And yeah, that ceremony took place at the Playboy Mansion, the coolest place on earth. Every boy's dream is to go to the Playboy Mansion. They got movies there.
Diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything.
They have a grotto, which I think is a cave pool. And yes, there were so many past apps. Now, all of this is to say that race organizers found out about the DVD and sued the absolute poop out of Mischief Productions, though they eventually settled out of court, which means money. There's tons of stories like these of grandeur and excess that would make Kim.com's golden toilet blush. Again, Kim.com, apparently a real human man with a real name. But there's some wholesome stories too. In 2004, skateboarder Rob Dyrdek participated in the Gumball with his co-driver Chris Big Black Boykin. Documentarian Ruben Fleischer filmed the drive and found their dynamic so charming that he later brought the footage to MTV and the show Robin Big was born. If you don't know Robin Big, it eventually led to Ridiculousness, and that is now all that MTV plays. And that is why my TikTok feed is full of Rob Dyrdek telling me how to be an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end. The 2006 rally is known to many as the last great Gumball, before it was overrun by inexperienced rich boys. And yes, I'm actually telling you that the early participants were the good ones. Because this new crop of ralliers had unlimited cash and they seemed to enjoy collecting speeding tickets and totaled cars. Today, it's not that uncommon to have a rallier trash their first choice car, then buy another one on the way to make sure that they can finish in time. Any kind of interesting strategy quickly took a backseat to cold, hard cash. On top of being the last golden year of Gumball, 2006 is also heralded as the most valuable grid in the history of the rally. Cars included Mercedes-Benz SLR McLarens, which was a tour practically built to withstand the challenges of the Gumball. Plus, it can go 208 miles per hour. There were a few Bugatti Veyrons, which is my dream daily driver. I would drive it every day. I would never wash it, because I would just love to park it in Trader Joe's and just covered in bird poop. At the time of this rally, 2006, the Veyron was the fastest production car in the world, and it could reach speeds of 250 miles per hour. Now, we can't mention a valuable grid without including some Ferraris. In this case, it was an Enzo. The Enzo was blessed by the Italian manufacturer with a top speed of 221 miles per hour. Along with these over-engineered monsters, the event also included an unusually high number of classic Ferraris, including F50s, 275 GTCs, and a 250 California. When all was raced and done, the total value of the 2006 Gumball grid was estimated to be over $100 million. Yeah, baby. But for the first 7 years of the Gumball, it was a miracle that nobody was seriously injured. And then the absolute inevitable happened. On May 2nd, 2007, 2 participants of the Gumball were driving their Tech Art Porsche 997 Turbo through the Republic of Macedonia en route to the Albanian border. A Volkswagen Golf piloted by 2 elderly locals attempted to make a left when they turned in front of the Gumballers Porsche, The vehicles met head on, and while the Gumballers made it out okay, the folks in the Gulf did not. Despite the ralliers and medical professionals' best efforts, both people in the Volkswagen passed away from their injuries, which sucks, you know, because why? I gotta say this was totally avoidable. I mean, this all kind of sounds cool and glamorous, but at the end of the day, it's really selfish and like not worth it. Like, these guys are so rich, they can afford like trailers and real race cars and track fees. Like, they could go be real race car drivers that they want, but instead they're just like killing people in the Republic of Macedonia. Just get your priorities straight. Don't kill old people. And as you can imagine, once the media picked up on the story, shit hit the fan for the Gumball. Though the organizers canceled the remainder of the race, the public was rightfully pretty furious. Campaigns on the internet referred to the event as the Dumball 3000 and the Scumball 3000 and other fun, really clever rhymes that poked fun at these rich people responsible for deaths of regular law-abiding folk. Now, despite the horrible press, the Gumball continued on in 2008 in a little place called North Korea. Yeah, the organizers behind the Gumball were apparently like, hey, we got a bunch of flack from the international news media about reckless driving after 2 people died. You know what will win them back? Let's go to North Korea. We'll just go to a place where the international media isn't allowed. To get to North Korea, the participants and their vehicles were loaded onto 3 transport cargo planes and flown to Nanjing, China. Then, the ralliers were flown by Air Koryo, a company known as the world's worst airline. They were then flown to Pyongyang, where the Gumballers watched the North Korean version of the Olympics. That night, they all went to a party. They toasted their fearless leader, Maximilian Cooper, as well as Kim Jong-il. I don't know. Around 2013, all the negative press around the Gumball led to an obvious conclusion. The Gumball 3000 Foundation was established. Did you think I was gonna say that it ended? No, it'll never end. Instead, 14 years after its first rally, the organizers decided it was time to give back to the people by donating to charities like the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Child Bereavement UK, and the Tony Hawk Foundation. That one's rad. Other than that decision, the Gumball has pretty much offered the same year after year. In its 23 years of running, nearly 5,000 people have attended or participated. The entry fee has skyrocketed. It's now like $120,000 per car, which is just a little bit, I'm no math guy, but that's a little bit more expensive than 8,700 bucks. The next Gumball 3000 will take place in May 2022 from Toronto all the way to Havana, Cuba. And I plan on entering because I'm super rich and I don't give a shit about anybody. And as for Maximilian Cooper, our fearless leader, he married Eve. So he's a Rough Rider now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and every other video on Donut. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. If you want to get some Donut merch, we have a lot of new stuff coming. I'm super excited about it. You can buy this hat, get this hat, high quality. Go to donutmedia.com. We're doing new stuff almost every week. One of my best friends in the world, Andy, designs it all. And it's really been a joy to create with him. I love you.